from the show that is always on your side. This is Eye to Eye Kansas City.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us on the latest Eye to Eye Kansas City edition before the election special here. This is another one of those specials that we're going to give you, and this is pertaining to the general election coming up in November. Those who are registered voters, please head to the polls. Those who are not registered voters, your time has already came when you have seen this program here in Missouri. Those who are in Kansas, I think you have until October 15th or so. You might want to check with your election offices to make sure that Galvin's telling the truth and that we are confirming that. Just go ahead and check with your election offices so that way we aren't getting you in trouble and we're not setting you up to fail type of thing. Ooh, excuse me. I am a bit underneath the weather, so I do want to say that my voice isn't all that well, and I've been under some kind of cold and I got some kind of sinus stuff, so I do want to apologize for not giving it everything 100% today, but I'm going to try to give it my all today on this broadcast. And we've been going through a lot of, and if it wasn't that, we were going through a bit of an upgrade with the look that you're somewhat seeing behind me. So that's why you see a big old close-up shot every single show, is because we are trying to do something a little bit different with this broadcast. And we're going to have a new, you guys remember that flat screen TV a couple of shows back? Well, that is going to be a part of our new look very soon. Hopefully we can debut it sometime soon. Alright, now let's get into the latest news and commentary since we've been off. Now there's been a new name that has arisen into the mayoral race of next year, and this is coming in the name of Dan Coffin. Now Dan Coffin is not a stranger to these mayoral races. He was a 1995 candidate against former mayor Emmanuel Cleaver, which we will talk about him a little bit later on in our show here on Eye to Eye Kansas City today. So he's not a stranger to being a candidate. He's not a stranger to being in city council. He served the city council from 1987 to about 95. So he is getting frustrated with local government. He wants to make fair and reasonable decisions, and some are giving him the notation that he sounds like another Mark Funkhauser when it comes to fiscal responsibility. He says that he claims that $12 to $14 million goes to the Power Light District. So he wants to focus on some of the issues that is going on in the city and fix major infrastructure problems in everything in that nature. Now, also in the rumor mill is that Claire McCaskill, could she be running for governor? Some of the damage control that she did with Jay Nixon when the Ferguson, Missouri situation was happening and it was in our radar. There's been questions of is she's going to be running or not. She was asked on MSNBC to be a presidential candidate for the 2016 office, and of course what we're going to get into is, could she be elected as a cabinet position for somebody's office? We don't know, but we got two major we're going to talk about vetoes here coming up next, and these vetoes was back when we told you about Jay Nixon's vetoes about the abortion times, going back to 72-hour wait times for pregnant ladies here in Missouri. Those who are pregnant in Missouri will have to wait 3 days to see a doctor about abortions. So those have been overturned by Missouri lawmakers. So that law is back on the books. And there was 58 votes that were overturned in total. But the major ones that stood out is that teachers teachers can carry concealed weapons into for schools, and students. And there was some talk about lessening the age for carrying for the concealed carry weapons down to 19 years old. I don't know what the hell is the problem with Jefferson City, but they better watch out. And it's always been the case, if something happens with a young child, a young adult with a gun, there's going to be some change with that law. It's just the facts, not what I think, but that's just the facts. So those are just the two major things that has happened with those vetoes that Governor Jay Nixon has put about. Now, the state of the students address we're going to address at a later time and date. So I want just keep it here on I2I Kansas City. We might do a quick snippet on the next program, but I doubt it, because we have got to get on these issues that is going to be on the November 4th ballot. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, you can also go log on to kcmoresources.weebly.com, and we will have the latest there. You can download the sample ballot and take a look for yourself of what I'm going to be reading you and showing you on the screen here momentarily of some of the issues and candidates that will be on the November 4th ballot. So, of course, you can keep it here on I2I Kansas City for the latest of political analysis and election returns right here on I2I Kansas City. So, don't go anywhere. When it comes to after November 4th, you can catch it right here on I2I Kansas City. We have the results at the bottom of your screen, as you see with the other after the election special. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start somewhere random. Can we start off with question number 1? And this has something to do with capital improvements and sales tax. Shall the city of Kansas City impose a sales tax of 0.25% for 25 years for the purpose of funding capital improvements? Excuse me, I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Question number 2. Shall the city of Kansas City impose a sales tax of 1/8% for 25 years for the purpose of providing a source for funds for the public transportation purposes? And I hope that ain't what I think it's going to. That's all I'm saying. I hope it ain't what I think it's going to. If it smells like a duck and quacks like a duck and it sounds like a duck, it's a duck. But I'm just saying. What I'm going to do is start off with the constitutional amendments right here in Missouri. This is just Missouri. Now, what I previously read to you was the issues that was going on in Kansas City, Missouri, here in the city. Now I'm going to give you a statewide measure of what's going to happen on the ballot measures and amendments that will be on the November 4th ballot. Shall the Missouri Constitution be amended, and this is Constitutional Amendment number 2, shall the Missouri Constitution be amended so that it will be permissible to allow relevant evidence of prior criminal acts to be admissible in prosecutions for crimes of a sexual nature involving a victim under 18 years of age. If more resources are needed to defend increased prosecutions, additional costs to governmental entities could be at least $1.4 million annually. Otherwise, the fiscal impact is expected to be limited. Constitutional Amendment number 3 states as this: shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to require teachers, and this is the teacher tenure type of thing that we've talked to you on the after the election program here on I2I Kansas City. This has something, this is what this is all about here. Shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to require teachers to be evaluated by a standards-based performance evaluation system for which each local school district must receive state approval to continue receiving state and local funding. Requires teachers to be dismissed, retained, demoted, promoted, and paid primarily using quantifiable student performance data as part of the evaluation system. Require teachers to enter into contracts of 3 years or fewer with public school districts, and prohibit teachers from organizing or collectively bargaining regarding the design and implementation of the teacher evaluation system. Decisions by school districts regarding provisions allowed or required by this proposal, and their implementation will influence the potential costs or savings impacting each district. Significant potential costs may be incurred by the state and or the districts if new/additional evaluation instruments must be developed to satisfy the proposal's performance evaluation requirements. Moving on to Constitutional Amendment 6. Shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to permit voting in person or by mail for a period of 6 business days prior to and including the Wednesday before the election day in all general elections, but only if the legislature and the governor appropriate and disperse funds to pay for the increased costs for such voting. State governmental entities estimated startup costs of about $2 million and costs to reimburse local election authorities of at least $100,000 per election. Local election authorities estimate higher reimbursement costs per election. Those costs will depend on the compensation, staffing, and planning decisions of election authorities, with the total costs being unknown. Constitutional Amendment Number 10. Shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to require the governor to pay for the public debt, to prohibit the governor from relying on revenue from legislation not yet passed when proposing a budget, and to provide a legislative check on the governor's decisions to restrict funding for education and other state services. State governmental entities expect no direct costs or savings. Local governmental entities expect an unknown fiscal impact. And I've read, of course, that was it of the issues that we got going on here in Missouri. What I'm going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and take a break, and I'll have my final word on this edition of what's going on with the rest of the ballot.
Okay, here's the plan. You're gonna want to turn right in 0.2 miles. Watch the lane.
And we have this really great view.
Got a car in our blinds.
And we learned how to salsa dance. He was dancing.
Backseat drivers just met their match. Introducing the entirely new Sonata Sport.
You forgot to turn off the...
From Hyundai.
This sandwich is 2 things in one. On the outside, a sweet, fluffy King's Hawaiian bun. On the inside is savory brisket from Texas, smoked with hickory wood for at least 13 hours. Hawaii and Texas, sweet and savory. Mahalo, y'all. Aloha, cowboy. Arby's, we have the meats.
Welcome back here on I2I Kansas City. Now, there's a lot of other issues that I won't be able to get to. In terms, there's going to be judges on the ballot. So those who have been in the Jackson County courts or any, I'm going to see if there's those who have been in any Jackson County, Missouri courtrooms and have seen judges or has had to deal with judges. Now would be your time to get revenge. That's all I'm going to say. Now would be your time to get revenge, and I'm going to get some revenge out on November 4th. I'm just going to say it like it is. T.I. is up in here. But here's my final word of on this particular part. There's a part 2 to this program because we're going to go over what is going to be on the ballot, and we're going to give you some more latest of the news and commentary here in Kansas City on the second half. What I know and what I found out is that I think we're going to see another low voter turnout. I hope that we don't, but I think we are going to see another low voter turnout opportunity on November 4th. I hope that isn't the case. I hope that we all got enough sense to get our butts up on November 4th and get ready to vote. I hope that we can rise above stupidity and get to the polls. And Kansas, it don't take that long to vote, people. It don't take that long to vote. And if you sit up here and you say, oh, well, voting, they just do whatever they want to do, you're the stupid one. Well, they just do whatever they want to do for whatever reason. Well, you're the stupid one because guess what? You letting them get away with murder when you're not voting, when you're not a part of our democratic system, our democracy, a based system that everyone should be participating in, including my brothers and sisters that are watching this program. You guys know better than that to not be at the polls on November 4th. So I want to drive home, if anything else that you haven't seen on this program today, is that you guys should be voting on November 4th. Polls open at 6 a.m. all the way open till 7 p.m. And some jobs and employers will allow you election time. I know my former employer that I used to work for will allow you to have time for you to go to your election station and come back to work. So, you know, people, there should be no excuses. Well, I gotta go take Becky. Go take Becky to whatever it is. Hell, let Becky see you vote. Let Becky and little Tom see you vote, so that way they know when they get 18 years of age, their ass ought to be at the polls. I'm just going to say it plain and simple. Their asses ought to be at the polls when it's time for them to be at the polls. It's no more excuses. Look at your streets. Look at your neighborhoods. Look at those who have been in courts due to civic issues, due to issues out of their control, due to custody cases, child support cases, domestic violence cases, any kind of case where you had to pertain with a judge, and include with the Missouri Supreme Court, the Missouri Court of Appeals judges. You know, I got a few I'm going to vote hell no on. They should know who they are, but and they should know why. And I ain't telling why, because ain't none of y'all dang on business. But anyhow, that wraps it up with this edition here of Kansas City. I hope things get a little bit better with this voice. And I do want to say thank you for allowing me to give you the latest of news and commentary, because it is very detrimental to all of us here at I2I Kansas City. But I do want to say thank you, and we're going to conclude this part 1 version of I2I Kansas City. We're going to go ahead and move to part 2 of this edition, and we will see you then. So don't go anywhere.